computer. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about what is business insurance. So every business needs different types of insurance policies. When it comes to business insurance, there are many different types of business insurance, but we're going to be focusing on three, which is the main three that you all marketers offer, which is general liability, workers' compensation, and commercial auto insurance. Those are the main three that we always go after. So we're going to get started here with general liability. So first things first, for general liability insurance, what it is it basically protects businesses from lawsuits. What I mean by this is it can be used to pay for, let's say, medical injuries, for example, if let's say we're quoting a grocery store. And in the grocery store, a customer has their child who's running up and down, the aisles, and they suddenly fall, break their leg. The family can sue the business for the medical costs for, the injuries.
Yeah.
So general liability, it typically carries coverage of up to 1 million, which is sometimes when you guys are talking to business owners, they talk about, needing $1 million, $1 million policy. So typically general liability policies, they cover up to $1 million per incident, 2 million total general aggregate. What that means is total for the year, and they can always get more if they need it. Okay. Now, you mostly are all reaching out to contractors. So you may think like, why may they need it? Considering they usually don't have an office or they don't have like an actual business, because of course they're contractors, they do all their work at customers' houses or their buildings. So for example, let's say there's a gardener, right? Gardeners, they have their, the thing they use, all their tools, all their equipment. Let's say one of them were to leave a leaf blower on the sidewalk for a gardener, for example. Someone's walking down or they're riding a bike, and because the leaf blower is on the sidewalk, they trip over it, they break their arm. At the end of the day, the gardener could be held responsible for it. So it's not just at the business location. For example, for contractors especially, it can always cover wherever they are working.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's whatever, think of general liability as whatever they're responsible for. So they need to be found what's called negligent. All business insurance, all businesses, small or big, everyone needs general liability insurance. It's always good to carry. That's why there's insurance companies charge different prices, for different types of businesses, which is why we always call and we offer to see if we can hopefully offer the best price with the best coverages. Okay. And then, so companies charge a premium depending on the risk. What I mean about risk is an insurance company would charge based on how risky a business could be, like the chances of somebody getting hurt or them causing damages. What I mean by this is, for example, a risky business. For example, a business where they have go-karts, That's very high likely that someone could get injured, compared to, for example, our office here. We have walk-ins, people sit in our chair, they leave. Not risky at all. So obviously an office like ours, for example, could pay less than a business that has, higher risk.
Okay.
So that's why a lot of, people, when you're talking to them, it's like, well, what are your prices? It's impossible to give a price just right from, simply talking to the person, which is why we set these appointments, to collect as much information as we can about the businesses, what they do, how long have they been in business, because someone who's fresh in business is definitely riskier than someone who has 30 years of experience, especially for contractors.
Right.
Okay.
So that's why it's important to collect as much information as we can, So it's like, I'm sure you guys get it all the time. Well, what are your prices or what can you offer me? It's impossible to say.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions that you guys might have for general liability? I know it's very brief but when it comes to insurance, it's mostly all about giving examples when it comes to coverages.
Okay.
Any questions you guys might have?
No, not for now.
Okay. Sounds good. And if I'm going too fast, let me know, because sometimes I can talk pretty fast.
You're fine.
Okay. So now moving on to workers' compensation. So workers' compensation, or sometimes some business owners may call it workman's comp. So I'm not sure if you
Okay.
guys have heard it that way too. So workers' compensation is basically, as it sounds, compensation for workers in the event of an injury. So workers' compensation can be offered to businesses with one or more employees. Lately, we have been offering what are called ghost policies or owner-only policies, and that's more for contractors who are just required to carry it whether they have employees or not. But typically, we do offer it to those who have one or more employees. What it is it basically provides coverage in case the employee gets injured while at work. So, and same thing. So it depending on the risk, so obviously a roofing company has much higher chance of one of their employees, getting injured. They're working on roofs, they're working with, heavy material, equipment, machinery. So they have much higher risk than me, for example, who I sit at a desk all
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
The premiums depend on that. So when it comes
Okay.
to workers' compensation, their price is not so much based on the business. Workers' compensation is all based off payroll. What that is in
Okay.
any case, so it all depends on how much payroll they pay a year. So when we run quotes, it's always based starting off with an estimate. So for example, they tell us, oh yeah, we have 2 full-time employees getting paid $15 an hour. So we do the math of what it would be for a year. Okay. That's based on how they pay. At the end of the year, they do what's called an audit. And then that audit, they will like actually get the final numbers and then charge them. The way it works, they get charged is a dollar amount per every $100 of payroll that they pay. And going back
Okay.
to risky businesses, roofing company is going to pay a lot higher dollar amount per every $100 of payroll than an office.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
So, and what exactly it is let's say that there were an employee who were to get injured. Let's say for whatever reason, my chair breaks and I fall off my chair, and I hurt my wrist. What it's going to pay for is medical costs, any sort of medical treatment that I might need. So medical costs, what I mean is like x-rays, any sort of like bandaging that I might need, surgery if I may need it, medical treatment. So if I need to go to some sort of like rehabilitation, physical therapy, things like that. And let's
Okay.
say, God forbid, something happened where I cannot come back to work. It can also pay for, schooling, basically for you to be able to get another job.
Okay.
So that's what workers'
Okay.
compensation pays for. Basically, like I said, compensation for the workers.
Okay.
Okay. Any
Perfect.
questions you guys might have with that?
I have one.
Mhm.
If the business only has one employee, does it still need it?
They do. So in California, unlike other states, we're going to soon be calling out to Texas. In Texas, businesses are not required to carry workers' compensation, even if they have 100
Okay.
employees. In California, they are required to carry workers' comp. They can be fined if an employee were to, for example, get injured and the business doesn't have business insurance. They can be fined. And it's definitely something good to carry, especially depending on how risky the business is, because here in California, because the business owners are required to carry workers' comp, and if one of their employees gets injured and they don't have it, at the end of the day, they're responsible. So, if they don't have the policy to pay for the medical treatment, they're going to have to pay for it out of pocket. And
Yeah.
that's where lawsuits get involved and all of that as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. For example, what happens if a contractor doesn't have a workers' comp policy?
So if they don't have it, so I would say one of our main selling points, especially with contractors, is those who work on bigger projects, before they can even sign the contract for these projects, most projects that they're working on, they do
Okay.
require them to carry it. So
Okay.
a lot of business owners or contractors that you talk to, they may tell you, oh, we're always needing certificates of insurance. A certificate of insurance basically tells you the insurance policies that you carry and for how much coverage you have.
Okay.
So typically a lot of contractors, are going to ask for it because they have to meet these requirements for contracts. And if they simply don't have it or they let it cancel, they run a risk.
Yeah,
So, yeah, so they run the risk. At the end of the day, they could be responsible if an employee does get injured. It could be that they went a whole year without any employees getting injured and they basically saved themselves some money. But again, at the end of the day, it's a risk. You avoid paying $1,000 a year, for a policy that could pay millions, up to millions, because there is no limit when it comes to workers' compensation of how much it can actually pay out.
yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Perfect.
that's why it's good to educate them, especially when it's a roofer, plumbers, electricians,
Okay.
all those, it's always good to educate them, to tell them, well, then, what's one of the reasons you don't want to carry it? Is it because of the price? Well, just keep in mind, saving yourself $1,000 a year, for example. If one of your employees gets injured, you could be held responsible for millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars of medical costs.
Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, so it's very important for business owners to carry it. Another type of business that's quite risky is auto repair shops. For those, you see a lot of smaller claims, like they get lacerations on their fingers, things can fall on their feet, so there's all sorts of businesses that are risky, not just with contractors, that is good to have the policy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any questions you guys have for workers' comp?
No,
No.
Okay, sounds good. I mean, we're just mainly going over like the coverages. I know sometimes some selling points are also good per what we can offer.
Okay.
Okay. So moving on to what we mentioned was commercial auto insurance.
Okay.
Commercial auto insurance, it's pretty straightforward. Here in California, every single car that is registered in California has to have car insurance. Okay.
Okay.
Really, the only thing that makes it commercial auto insurance is if they use their car for their business.
Okay.
So types of businesses that you will see that need commercial auto: contractors, they usually have trucks to carry the tools or equipment, materials to job sites.
Okay.
It could be businesses that offer delivery services,
Okay.
flower shops. Flower shops do tend to do deliveries for flowers to customers, restaurants, with food delivery. All of these businesses that you see, that have cars that they use for the business, they have to have business auto insurance.
right.
And the reason that I say they have to, because at the end of the day, they can call, for example, us, that we offer personal auto insurance. They can call us, give us a VIN number, we write a quote for them, and insure them. The reason why it's good to carry commercial auto insurance is because at the time of a claim, for example, they get involved into an accident, they're going to ask them, well, what were you using the car for? Where were you driving to? If it's determined that it's for a business, you were driving to a customer's house, you were, doing some sort of delivery, personal auto insurance will be like, nope, we're not covering the claim. And if you're
Okay.
responsible, you ran someone over, you hit another car, you rear-ended another car, you're going to be responsible, and your personal auto insurance is going to say, nope, we're not covering because it's a business car.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why it's very important for businesses, contractors especially, to carry commercial auto insurance or business auto insurance for that reason, because it tells the company, hey, I am using my car for the business.
Yeah,
And there is no question of whether it's going to be covered or not. Now, there are a lot of contractors who have trucks, they use it for their business and personal. They use it to carry tools and stuff. And then weekends, they use it to take their kids to the park. When it comes to that, we can always insure it. We put it still through commercial, but we just put the usage as commercial and personal use.
okay.
Okay.
And
So,
it covers both.
and it covers both, whether you're using it for personally or business.
Okay.
So, and that's usually could be the case a lot with, again, you guys talk to a lot of contractors, where it's like, well, I just have it insured with my other cars. It's like, well, that's not necessarily the best way because, I'm not sure if you know, but if there were to be an accident, and you're using the car during business use, it's possible that your auto insurance company can deny it. And at the end of the day, you would be responsible. And
Okay.
here, accidents are not cheap.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, here we're in a state that's so quick to sue people. If you rear end someone, so if you hit someone from behind, you're automatically at fault 99% of the time. You know, even if they forcefully broke, you know, and there was no way for you to avoid hitting them, you know, you would be at fault. And with them knowing that it's a business truck, because a lot of contractors here, they put their logos on their trucks, you know, they're trying to promote their business, they're trying to get people to call them. So you know it's a business truck. So that's why a lot of people will see that and be like, I'm gonna try to get as much money as I can.
Okay.
So that's why typically another reason to carry commercial auto insurance is it typically has more coverage. Well, we like to quote more coverage compared to what's just required to carry with a personal use car.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
For example, if a contractor use a concrete machine, he need, for example, an auto policy, a commercial auto policy.
Yep. So there are different types of commercial vehicles. So it's just a matter of determining if that, because for like the concrete, you know, we do see those quite a bit. It's a matter of determining if it's just a trailer that could fall more under just, you know, business equipment that we can insure on top of their policy. Or if it's something, if it's, you know, we have those concrete trucks that you can actually drive, that can be
Okay.
insured as a commercial. You know, we
Okay.
also have cranes, you know, cranes that are used to move tools around on a job site. If those can
Okay.
be driven, they could be covered under commercial auto. So it's just a matter of
Okay.
determining if it would fall more under business equipment or if it's going to be under commercial auto. Because we have dump trucks, like demolition companies. You know, they have the ones that, you know, kind of lift and drop everything, you know, those, you know, or we have, what are they called? Wood chippers, like for those who do
Mhm.
tree services, and then they, you know, so it's just a determining to see, because it could also mean that the truck already has that built in, you know, as like just an attachment to it, and we insure it as part of the commercial truck.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And these are all things that once we actually start collecting the information and, you know, we talk to our underwriting department, they let us know, hey, you know, it's best to insure this as an auto or it's best to insure it as equipment. Yeah. So think of it as everything and everyone needs insurance, you know,
Yeah.
whether it's as small as it is or as big it is. You know, this office may just be an office, but it has computers, it has TVs, it has printers, you know, fax machine. All of that is equipment that can be insured. Same for
Okay.
contractors, you know, they have as small as their hammer or as big as, like, you know, a trailer. It's all things that need insurance. So it's just a matter of determining, you know, what the business needs. That's why I mentioned, like, there's different types of business insurance. So it's just like when I complete an appointment, it's just a matter of really asking the questions to find out exactly what it is they're doing. How big is the business? You know, someone who's a smaller contractor will more than likely be renting their equipment, you know.
Okay.
Someone who's been in business for 30 years, they probably already have acquired, you know, equipment that they already own, and we need to ensure that as well.
Okay.
Okay. So that's why when I actually complete the appointment to gather as much information, these are all questions that we're asking them.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why when you guys are talking to them, you know, I know we tell you guys often, like, ask for everything, because
Mhm.
everything can be insured. You know,
Yeah.
so employees, commercial auto insurance, general liability, equipment insurance, you know, when it comes down to like restaurants, we can insure the restaurant. And if they own the building in the restaurant, we can insure the building too. Apartments, you know, buildings, all of that needs insurance. So that's why, you know, it's best, you know, luckily with us is we can insure it all. And that's our main selling point is come to us, we'll be able to take care of all your insurance needs, personal, commercial, if you own buildings, you know, if you have employees, we can insure it all.
And also if a business is that big and for example, they have 10 trucks and 5 cars, do we have a special type of policy that like a global one that covers all of that business's vehicles?
Definitely. So that's one neat thing about auto insurance is you can have one policy for all of your cars. You don't have to have
Good.
one each. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have one policy for all, and then it's some cars specifically may need more coverage than others. Like we talked about equipment be attached to it.
Mhm.
We can always add on, special equipment just to one.
Okay.
So
Okay.
another one that's commercial auto is think food trucks. You don't really think
Mhm.
food truck as, a commercial auto, but that is a commercial auto. They usually have stoves in there, all their kitchen
Yeah.
equipment. And so for them, we do more of like a package policy where not only do we insure it as a commercial auto, but we also insure it as a restaurant. So at the end of the day, people can get sick from the food that they're eating. That's general liability.
Mhm.
People can steal the equipment that they have in there. That's the business personal property. And they can crash while driving that food truck. That's commercial auto insurance.
Okay.
And they can have employees that also get, chop off a finger, So even something as small as a food truck, that has different stops in different locations, they can need a lot of different insurance policies.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Any additional questions you guys may have?
No, not for now.
No.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, when, like I've mentioned to you guys, even when it comes to insurance, whether it's personal insurance or business insurance, we're never going to know everything 100% because especially businesses, there's some gardeners who may do tree trimming, but others who don't. So it's just, it's just a matter of really defining what the business does, or even individually, for personal insurance and things like that. Just really seeing all the insurance that they need. And it's all based off examples. Yeah. All right, let me stop recording here.